pairs of planets. Hey there, stargazers. I'm Dean Regas, astronomer for the Cincinnati Observatory. Have you ever seen or even heard of the Beehive Cluster?
And I'm James Albury, director of the Kika Silva Pla Planetarium in Gainesville, Florida. Next week, the two brightest planets, Jupiter and Venus, will have an early morning super scoochie right next to the Beehive.
And Mars and Saturn will pass each other in the evening twilight. Let's show you. We have our skies set up facing southwest after sunset next week on the 18th. And as it gets darker, a pair of bright lights will be the first things you see over here. The upper one is the ring planet Saturn, and about 5 degrees down and to the right is the reddish-orange planet Mars. They'll look about the same brightness, but slightly different colors.
Not long ago, we showed you how to use your pinky finger to measure the size of the moon. Remember? The moon is always smaller than your pinky finger. Well, now we want you to use your whole fist and hold it over Saturn and Mars. What do you see?
Your fist will completely cover both of them with plenty left over. Saturn and Mars are about 5 degrees apart, while your fist covers about twice that much, or 10 degrees of the sky.
Get out after sunset each night for the next few weeks and watch this pair of peripatetic planets. For the first few nights, they'll actually get closer each night, but after a week or so, they'll separate again and show you why they're called planets. They're the wanderers of the sky.
To the left of Mars and Saturn are the stars of Scorpius the Scorpion. 3 along here form the head, and long curving line of stars down here form the body. The bright red star Antares marks his heart. What about his claws, you may be asking? Well, Saturn lies right between them. These claw stars have some of James's favorite names to pronounce, so I'll defer to him to tell you all about them.
The upper claw is Zubin-Eshemali, which actually means northern claw, and the lower one is Zubin-el-Janubi, the southern claw. Zubin-Eshemali puts out 270 times as much light as our sun, while Zubin-el-Janubi, I just love the sound of that, is closer to us, but not as powerful.
So on August 18th, just after it gets dark, look southwest for Saturn and Mars.
With Scorpius off to the left.
Antares, the bright red heart.
And the claw stars Zubin-Eshemali and Zubin-el-Janubi.
What about this Beehive we mentioned earlier?
Let's take a look at Dean's favorite time, the early morning.
No!
Here we are facing east well before sunrise. And depending upon exactly how early you get up, what you see may vary. Winter's Orion is in the southeastern sky, and Castor and Pollux are off to his left. But the really big thing we dragged you out of bed to see is this bright pair of stars below Castor and Pollux.
They rise about an hour and a half before sunrise, but once they're up high enough to be seen, they're much brighter than anything else out there. The left one, Venus, is about 7 times brighter than Jupiter, the other one. Yep, here are 2 more planets wandering across the sky.
And the really neat thing about this is they are insanely close together, about 1/4 of a degree apart. A super scoochie if there ever was one. Be sure you don't miss this.
If you go out the next day, Venus will have moved almost a degree farther away from Jupiter. Next summer, at the end of June, Venus and Jupiter will get close again, but they'll be twice as far apart as they'll be next week. So now is the time.
And I'm sure you've been wondering about that beehive we mentioned earlier. Well, if you look at Jupiter and Venus with a pair of binoculars, you'll see a swarm of stars off to the left of the planets.
This beehive is a cluster of stars that lies about 600 light years away. If you have clear skies and good eyes, this cluster is easy to see, but most of us don't live under good skies. So take this opportunity to find the beehive.
So it's Saturn and Mars in the evening in the west.
And Jupiter, Venus, and the beehive in the morning in the east. Keep looking up.